Before Amazon, there was Sears. They invented everything Amazon does. Then they forgot how. Picture this. In 1999, while Jeff Bezos was losing money selling books online, Sears was the largest retailer in America with $158 billion in annual revenue. They had been delivering products to American homes for over a century. They had the infrastructure, the customer base, and the expertise to dominate e-commerce. Instead, they dismissed the internet as a fad. Welcome back to Arthur Lee's Adventures. I am Arthur Lee, and today we are conducting a corporate autopsy, examining the rise and fall of Sears, Roebuck & Company. Over the next 13 minutes, we will examine 10 critical moments that transformed a $55 billion retail empire into abandoned mall space. After 35 years watching companies rise and fall, I thought I had seen every way a business could destroy itself. But the Sears story? You cannot make this stuff up. If you are fascinated by how empires fall, subscribe and join me every week as we uncover the stories behind the headlines. Fact number 10. Richard Sears founded his company in 1886 after exploiting a railroad station master's unwanted watch shipment. The station master in North Redwood, Minnesota had refused a shipment of watches. Sears bought the entire lot at a massive discount and sold them to fellow railroad workers at huge markups. Think about that for a second. What started as a side hustle selling watches became the foundation for America's largest retailer. Sears made $400 profit in his first month. That is about $12,000 in today's money. The hustle mentality that drove this initial success would define Sears for the next century. But it would also plant the seeds of their eventual downfall. Fact number 9. The 1894 Sears catalog was 507 pages long and offered everything from bicycles to entire houses. This catalog reached rural Americans who had no access to department stores. It generated $750,000 in sales. That is equivalent to $25 million today. The Sears catalog democratized shopping for rural America. Farmers in Iowa could buy the same quality goods as city dwellers in Chicago. At competitive prices, the catalog became known as the consumer's Bible. Families would spend winter evenings browsing through its pages, dreaming of what they might order come spring. Sears literally invented what would become e-commerce. Direct-to-consumer sales, national logistics networks, money-back guarantees. Everything Amazon would later claim to have pioneered, Sears was already doing in the 1890s. Fact number 8. Julius Rosenwald's investment of $37,500 in 1895 transformed Sears from a small watch company into America's retail giant. Rosenwald brought operational excellence and a revolutionary customer policy. Satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. No questions asked. This was unheard of in 1895. Most retailers operated on buyer beware. Rosenwald's guarantee built unprecedented customer trust. By 1907, Sears reached $50 million in annual revenue. But here is where it gets interesting. Rosenwald's customer-first philosophy created a culture of service that would define Sears for decades. However, this customer-centric culture would be completely abandoned under later leadership. The same company that once promised satisfaction or your money back would eventually become known for indifferent service and declining quality. At this point, Sears was worth $55 billion at its peak. 126 years of building customer trust and retail innovation. What happened next would destroy it all in less than 2 decades. Fact number 7. In 1973, Sears completed the Sears Tower in Chicago as the world's tallest building. At that moment, they were America's largest retailer with over 800 stores and $12.3 billion in annual revenue. The Sears Tower symbolized their position at the absolute peak of American retail. 110 stories of concrete and steel, declaring Sears' dominance to the world. But here is the profound irony. The year they built the world's tallest building was nearly the exact moment their decline began. Walmart and specialty retailers were already eating their market share. While Sears was building monuments to their past success, competitors were building the future of retail. How does that happen? The tower became a perfect metaphor, impressive from the outside. But inside, the foundation was already cracking. Fact number 6. Between 1980 and 2000, Walmart grew from $1.2 billion to $165 billion in revenue while Sears stagnated. Walmart's everyday low prices and superior logistics systematically destroyed Sears' middle market position. This data shows the exact period when Sears lost its dominance. While Sears maintained traditional department store markups and seasonal sales, Walmart's efficiency and scale allowed them to offer consistently lower prices. Sears never adapted their business model to compete with this new reality. They were still operating like it was 1950. Seasonal sales events, high markups followed by deep discounts. Meanwhile, Walmart was perfecting supply chain efficiency and volume purchasing. Sears executives dismissed Walmart as a regional discount chain. That regional chain eventually became the largest company in the world by revenue. Fact number 5. Despite having the perfect infrastructure for e-commerce with their catalog business and logistics network, Sears leadership dismissed the internet in the 1990s. CEO Arthur Martinez stated in 1999 that the internet is not going to be a big deal for retail. Let that sink in for a second. This represents one of the most catastrophic strategic failures in business history. Sears literally invented what would become e-commerce with their catalog system. They had customer databases, distribution centers, a century of experience delivering products to homes. Yet they completely missed the digital transition that would define retail's future. While Amazon was losing money building online infrastructure, Sears was ignoring the revolution happening right in front of them. This blindness allowed Amazon to build what Sears should have created. The company that pioneered mail-order retail chose to ignore its digital evolution. We are halfway through this corporate autopsy, and honestly, the patient was already dying. But what comes next is where the real tragedy unfolds. Which of these facts has surprised you most? I am genuinely curious. Let me know in the comments. Fact number 4. In 2003, hedge fund manager Eddie Lampert began accumulating Sears stock, eventually gaining control with a 15% stake. Lampert publicly criticized the company's management and promised to unlock shareholder value through aggressive cost-cutting. This marked the beginning of the end for Sears as a functioning retailer. Lampert represented the shift from operating retail businesses to financial engineering. His hedge fund background meant he viewed Sears as a collection of assets to be optimized rather than a retail business to be grown. While traditional retailers focused on customer experience and store operations, Lampert focused on balance sheet manipulation. He was not trying to fix Sears. He was trying to extract value from its carcass. And that, right there, is the moment everything changed. Fact number 3. In 2005, Lampert engineered the $11 billion merger of Kmart, emerging from bankruptcy, with Sears. This created Sears Holdings but combined two declining retailers instead of fixing either one's fundamental problems. The merger was presented as creating synergies and scale. In reality, it combined two failing business models. Rather than innovation or investment in stores, Lampert focused on financial engineering. Think about this for a second. Kmart had just emerged from bankruptcy. Sears was losing market share to Walmart and Target. Lampert's solution was to merge two dying companies and hope for the best. The merger diverted attention from the core problem. Both chains were losing relevance to customers. Instead of addressing declining sales and outdated stores, Lampert was playing accounting games. This was financial engineering masquerading as retail strategy. Fact number 2. Between 2005 and 2017, Sears Holdings sold over $6 billion worth of real estate assets to Lampert's other companies at below-market prices. The headquarters building was sold for $164 million when comparable properties sold for over $300 million. This reveals the true nature of Lampert's strategy. Extracting value from Sears' real estate portfolio rather than investing in retail operations. These transactions were heavily criticized as self-dealing. Lampert was using his control to benefit his other investment vehicles at Sears shareholders' expense. While Sears stores deteriorated from lack of investment, Lampert was quietly transferring the company's most valuable assets to himself. I have sat across the table from people making exactly this kind of decision. It is not about saving the company. It is about salvaging what you can before the inevitable collapse. But here is what makes this story truly extraordinary. The most shocking revelation is still to come. And it involves one of the most bizarre management experiments in corporate history. Fact number 1. Starting in 2008, Eddie Lampert implemented a radical internal competition system inspired by Ayn Rand's objectivism. He forced different Sears divisions to compete against each other for resources, which destroyed collaboration and accelerated the company's decline. This represents one of the most bizarre management experiments in corporate history. Lampert believed internal competition would drive efficiency. Instead, it created a toxic culture where divisions hoarded resources and refused to help each other. Former employees described it as corporate Darwinism that destroyed any remaining teamwork. Different departments would literally sabotage each other to secure budget allocations. The appliance division competed against the clothing division for the same corporate resources. Marketing teams refused to promote products from competing divisions. You cannot make this stuff up. A retail company that had succeeded for over a century through collaboration and customer service was torn apart by its own CEO's philosophical experiment. While competitors were integrating their operations for better customer experience, Sears was fragmenting into warring tribes. The aftermath was swift and brutal. Sears filed for bankruptcy in October 2018 after 126 years in business. Eddie Lampert's ESL Investments purchased the remaining assets for $5.2 billion, including 223 stores. But even that was not the end. By 2021, only 21 Sears stores remained open in the entire United States. 25,000 employees lost their jobs in the final bankruptcy. Millions of retirees saw their pensions reduced. Lampert himself? He walked away with billions in real estate and other assets extracted from the company during his 15-year control. He now operates a much smaller retail business and remains active in hedge fund investing. The Sears Tower was renamed Willis Tower in 2009, a fitting end to a once great company's legacy. So what can we learn from Sears' spectacular fall? First, past success does not guarantee future survival. Sears dominated retail for over a century, but failed to adapt when the rules changed. Second, financial engineering cannot replace business fundamentals. Lampert's focus on extracting value instead of creating it doomed any chance of recovery. Third, culture matters. When you replace collaboration with internal competition, you destroy the foundation that made success possible in the first place. In my 35 years watching markets, I have seen this pattern more than once. Companies that forget their customers while focusing on financial manipulation rarely survive. Out here in the desert, you learn to see clearly. No distractions, just the truth. And the truth is that Sears died because its leadership forgot what business they were actually in. Remember, this video is for educational purposes only. It is not financial advice. Always do your own research and consult professionals before making any investment decisions. Which moment shocked you the most? Was it Lampert's Ayn Rand experiment or the dismissal of the internet in 1999? Drop it in the comments. I am genuinely curious to hear what you think. If you want to see more corporate autopsies like this, subscribe and hit the bell. We examine a new business collapse every week. Next time, we are looking at another retail giant that fell even faster than Sears. That is another chapter of business history uncovered. The patterns are clear for those who look. Until next time, keep exploring.